What's going on, Imperials? The X-Men movies have been successful ever since they first came out. The X-Men are a huge reason for the current explosion of popularity that superhero movies are experiencing. If the first X-Men movie hadn't been any good, do you really think they would have made Spider-Man? Or even Iron Man if they hadn't continued to be commercially successful? While they've been fairly consistent at making money, the X-Men movies are a bit more varied when it comes to overall quality. There are very strong opinions about certain movies and where they rank in terms of audience reception. The last Wolverine movie is upon us, and that got me thinking, what exactly makes an X-Men movie good? Now, I will say that there is a difference in a Wolverine movie and an X-Men movie. Just how there's a difference in expectation for a Thor movie and an Avengers movie. Solo character-driven stories are by nature going to be different from ensemble stories, and that's what the X-Men demand. Recently, FX got the rights to Days of Future Past, and they've been showing it non-stop. Whether it's because Logan is coming out, or their new mutant show Legion, or both, I don't know. But it's what got me thinking about this whole thing. Days of Future Past is a good movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching it again, but it allowed me to take note of a few things. First of all, it's fairly light on the future and pretty heavy on the past. That may simply be by virtue of it being in between two other stories completely about the younger generation, but that's fine. Once Wolverine was in the past, he went to Xavier's school and found it not only shut down, but completely decrepit and falling apart. He then reluctantly drags around people who were lost, looking for more people who were lost, and spoilers, this somehow works in saving the future. Wolverine then wakes up instead of the nightmare he left. He's safe and sound at the school, with every single one of the characters we know and love. And then the movie ended, and it made me think, wait a minute, don't end. It was just getting good. I finally got to the part of the movie that I really want to see. That's what I want to see because that's what the X-Men are. A group of mismatched mutants at a school trying to learn to control their powers, while protecting a world that hates and fears them. That's the X-Men in every other medium, so perhaps subconsciously, I was expecting, or at least hoping, to see that on the big screen as well. And once they gave it to me and took it away, it left behind a bittersweet taste. As I said, I like Days of Future Past, and I completely understand why the future had to be dystopian. But why did the past have to be too? Yes, Professor X's self-doubt is an interesting story to watch, but couldn't he do that with at least a couple of students? I've always known that First Class was my favorite X-Men movie, but I couldn't put my finger on why until now. It has several mutants coming together at the school, actually training to control their powers. Even Eric gets in on the action. Then they go together as a group on a mission, exercising their newfound control of their abilities. They even have the bright, colorful uniforms. Now that is what the X-Men are all about. Do we get to know everyone the same? Of course not. Charles and Eric are very clearly at the forefront, with Raven and Hank behind. But that's okay. They all play off of each other so beautifully, but we don't need to have equal time for every single member of the team, just an actual reason for them to be there. I love X2 as much as the next guy, but they start off strong at the school, and then completely abandon it. The defense they mount is awesome, but then everybody just runs away. We never see Colossus again, and the rest of the team is split up for the majority of the movie. It's still a fantastic movie, but without the defining features of a school and a team, it just makes it a little less of an X-Men movie and a little more like every other superhero movie saturating the market. Say what you will about The Last Stand, but at least it placed an important focus on the school and its students, and then had them go, as a team, to the final mission, all in uniforms. At least it bothered showing the danger room, and expanding the school more than we had previously seen, and it showed the mutants, both student and teacher alike, learning important things and using them to aid them in the end. That sounds like X-Men to me. Apocalypse seemed like they had finally gotten their act together, with plenty of students and lessons to go around. It only took them 2 decades to get it right, until they literally blew up the entire school! That's 2 movies in a row without a school. They brought back Havoc after forgetting he existed, and instead of letting him be a useful member of the team, they kill him off. The students ask later about the X-Men as if it were some great tale, but from what they've shown us, it seems like once they finally were able to accomplish something, it gets destroyed. That's not what I want the X-Men to mean. Why are they so afraid of letting these characters actually be the X-Men? Even FX's new show Legion knows that you have to put in hard work and training first. This is why X-Men Evolution was such a good show. Not because it had the characters doing the coolest things they'd ever done, but because they still needed to learn. The X-Men were constantly training at the school, and that had a massive importance to both the students and the teachers. And then they added even more new mutants to train and learn at the school. They still went on missions, but the school was always first in their minds. Character pieces are an obvious exception. Logan can go be his angry, stabby self in lots of different times and places, and still do alright, because that's his character. That's easy enough to nail down in an individual, but doing it for an ensemble is harder. Just ask Fox about their other Marvel projects. But that's what the X-Men have always been. A group of misfits forced to work together, and in the process become a family. Do families always get along? No. Do they even always work well together? Not at all, but that's what makes it so fun. The X-Men have such distinct and diverse personalities that they can't help but be in contrast with one another. They naturally form foils to one another that can be heartwarming and entertaining, but only if we're allowed to see them. The Marvel Studios movies are great to watch, but everybody knows that the main reason to watch is for when there are interactions between all the characters. And that's all the X-Men are, dynamic interactions between unique characters, if they'd just be given the chance to breathe a little. The X-Men are first and foremost a team that fight to defend the mutants in their care at Xavier's school, but they also fight to protect all of humanity, from mutant threats as well as any other kind. Even when most of the world hate and fear them, the X-Men fight to protect them anyway, because it's the right thing to do. That level of selflessness is beyond admirable, but that's who they've always been. Taking that away or downplaying those aspects of them can still lead to a good story, and it has. It just makes it a little less of an X-Men story, and that's not fair to them or to the audience. We've seen superhero teams, we've even seen teams of mutants, but the X-Men have a cause to fight for that none of them can: the future and well-being for the students at their school. Apocalypse seemed to end pretty strong, with a coherent team being established, many of them finally getting their signature uniforms, and the school being rebuilt and flourishing. Hopefully they will allow that to influence their direction in the future. After 3 movies of watching them try to establish the X-Men, I am more than ready to see the team in full force. Fox has announced a pilot for a new X-Men-based TV show, with little details about the project. It's doubtful it will be about anything the movies have already dealt with, but there are dozens of X-Men teams out there, and if we're lucky, the people in charge will know how important the school is and make it a prominent feature of the exciting new project. Now, with all that being said, it's time to break out my claws while I go get the tickets to see Logan. What do you think makes a good X-Men movie? What would you change to make the X-Men as good as they can be? Let me know down in the comments. Also, be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can be an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time.